The translator bead in Counselor Vrethak's auditory canal buzzed with what the humans called static, a sound, he had learned, that meant their communications were under stress. He did not need the bead to understand what he was seeing. 17 Korathi warships, sleek as predator fins, held a firing arc over the small colony world of Dethune 4, a human colony. 40,000 souls below the orbital line, most of them farmers and miners, and the children of farmers and miners. Vrethak floated at the window of his diplomatic cruiser, 4 arms folded behind his back, and said nothing. He was a neutral observer. The Galactic Mediation Council had sent him here only to record. He told himself that, carefully, like a being who needed to believe it. The Korathi commander's name was Sheriff Val. He opened the channel himself. Colonial vessels, you have 6 of your hours to evacuate all military-age personnel from the surface. Anything else left behind becomes salvage under the rules of contested resource zones. A pause, designed to land. We are not unreasonable. Military age. Vrethak had learned enough human idiom to know that the phrase, in this context, meant anyone who could hold a tool or remember a face. The Korathi had invented the legal category specifically. The human response came from a single ship, an old frigate, scarred along the flanks, running no weapons hot. The name stenciled on her hull in their blocky script read GSV, Chamsuri. As. The voice that answered Sheriff Val was female, unhurried. Commander, my name is Captain Park Suri. I'm going to ask you to hold your position and listen to me for 3 minutes. Sheriff Val's amusement was audible even through compression. You have one. That's fine, Park said. It won't take long. Vrethak pulled the Chamsuri's registration record from the council archive out of reflex, the way old bureaucrats do when they're afraid. GSV Chamsuri, humanitarian class, crew 23, armament, none registered. Notable service record. His 4 eyes moved faster. Dethune 4 agricultural crisis, 2 standard years prior, delivered 1.4 million kilograms of stabilized grain stock during surface blight. Crew working without rotation for 19 consecutive ship days. Commendation refused. Captain's note in file. We were nearby. That's all. Vrethak set the record down. He had a feeling he knew what the next 3 minutes would bring, and he was already ashamed that he had called himself a neutral observer. Park Suri did not raise her voice. 17 months ago, she said, across the open channel where Vrethak and every Korathi officer could hear her, a Korathi survey team was stranded in the Pellar Drift. Their drive coil failed. They had 11 days of atmosphere. No Korathi vessel was within range. Silence on the channel. We were, Park said. My crew and I. We were 3 days into a supply run with a hold full of grain and medical equipment. We diverted. It cost us 6 days and burned our reserve fuel down to nothing. We towed your people out and transferred enough of our own atmosphere to get them home safely. Your survey team. 8 Korathi. One of them was very young. I think she was what you'd call a junior cartographer. She gave my engineer, Cho Minjun, a navigation crystal from her own kit before she left. Said it was all she had. Vrethak looked at the Chamsuri's hull again. The scars along the port flank he had assumed combat damage. Now he recalculated. Re-entry stress. They went deep into the drift, into the gravity shear. For strangers, I'm telling you this, Park continued, not as a threat. I'm not able to threaten you. I have no weapons, and I won't pretend otherwise. I'm telling you because one of those 8 Korathi you want to leave behind. As an observer, I see your roster. Commander, I have clearance, is named Vrethak Sol. The counselor in the diplomatic cruiser currently logging this engagement as a neutral party. Every eye on every ship found Vrethak's vessel. He felt the weight of it like a physical thing. The junior cartographer, Park said quietly, was his daughter. The channel was silent for a long time. Vrethak did not remember moving, but he was at his communications panel. His 4 hands settled over the controls with a steadiness that surprised him. He opened a private line to Sheriff Val. Commander, His voice was not the measured diplomatic tone he had cultivated over 30 years of council work. It was something older. I am invoking emergency mediation authority under Charter Clause 19. You will stand your ships down now, and you will remain in position while I contact the full council. Counselor, you have no enforcement. I have a recording, Brethak said. Every word of this channel, every frame of sensor data, 17 warships over a human agricultural colony that fed Korathi survivors. I have the testimony of Captain Park Suri, which is already logged in Council Archive and cannot be erased. And I have, he paused, 30 years of favors owed to me by beings who vote on matters like your fleet's trade licensing. A beat. Stand. Down. The Korathi fleet did not move for 40 seconds. Then, one by one, the firing solutions dissolved on the tracking display. Ships pivoting, arcs collapsing. Vrethak opened the channel to the Chamsuri. Park Suri's face appeared on his screen. She was perhaps 40 by human reckoning, with a face that had the particular stillness of someone who had made their decision early and stopped second-guessing it. Behind her, Vrethak could see her crew, 23 of them, packed around monitors, waiting. The engineer, Cho Min-jun, according to the file, was the one in the back with a gray streak in his hair and the navigation crystal hanging on a cord around his neck. He had kept it all this time. Captain, Vrethak said. He stopped. He began again. My daughter's name is Rethaki Solon. She is now a senior cartographer. She speaks of your crew every year on the anniversary. She says your engineer laughed at her jokes even though the translator bead struggled with Korathi humor. He paused. She said it made her feel like a person, not a problem to be solved. Park nodded once. She seemed to understand that he was not finished. You came here with no weapons, Vrethak said. No fleet, no leverage, except the truth of what you did and the faith that someone was listening who remembered. We were nearby, Park said. Her voice was exactly as calm as her crew file had promised. That's all. No, Vrethak said, and for the first time in 30 years of diplomatic language, he meant every single syllable of what came next. That is not all. That is everything. That is the only thing. He filed the full report to the Galactic Mediation Council that evening. It ran to 60 pages. Most council reports ran to 2. The Korathi fleet was ordered into a mandatory cooling period under charter oversight. Trade licensing for the contested resource zone was suspended pending a full review of Korathi classification methodology, with Vrethak personally leading the panel. He ensured the junior counselor who drafted the military-age personnel language was reassigned to archive cataloging on a cold station in the outer belt. It was the closest Vrethak had come to pettiness in 30 years. He found he did not regret it. 3 weeks later, a small package arrived on the Chamsuri while she was docked at Dathun 4, offloading the new supplies she had looped back to deliver because the colony still needed them. And that had been the original run, and Park Suri did not leave jobs half done. The package contained 2 things. The first was a navigation crystal Korathi made, top-tier grade, worth more than the Chamsuri's annual operating budget. A note attached read, in careful translated script, for Cho Min-jun. The first one was mine to give. This one is ours to return. Vretaki Solon, senior cartographer. The second was a handwritten letter in Vretak's own script, addressed to Captain Park Suri. It took Cho Min-jun an hour to translate it. It said, in full, humanity baffles the Galactic Council endlessly. You appear without warning in the worst places for the most inconvenient reasons, armed with nothing but your history of showing up. We debate whether you are dangerous. We have never been able to agree. I have decided the debate is settled. You are the most dangerous thing in this galaxy. You make it impossible to look away. Park Suri pinned the letter above the helm. It stayed there for 11 more years, through 6 resupply runs, 2 emergency diversions, and 1 very minor diplomatic incident that Vrethak quietly resolved before it reached the council floor. Cho Min-jun wore both crystals. He said they helped him navigate.